Hey podcasters, welcome to the Shaun Herr show, where it's my job to help you learn what you need to know so that you can look, feel and live better. Now maybe that's talking to a mental health counsellor, maybe that's interviewing a sex therapist like I did last week, or maybe it's just me and you having a chat like we're going to do today. And on that chat today, what we're going to talk about is asking the question of whether you should work out when you're injured. Now, before we get into it, if you could do me a favor, if you're listening or watching rather on Facebook or YouTube, just click the like button straight away because it just helps me out. It helps the video out, it helps my channel out and helps me reach more people. So just press that down there. Anyway, let's get into it. Should you work out if you're injured? Now, this is a big question. A lot of people ask it. Obviously, it's quite concerning because you don't want to do any more damage. You don't want to hurt yourself more than you already are. That's a big concern and it's totally understandable. But the issue with it is, if you're working on other goals, say for example, your work is focused towards weight loss, and suddenly, because you've gotten injured, you stop exercising, assuming obviously you're exercising anyway, which you should be, then that's going to slow down your progress. It's going to potentially stop your progress and it could even send things backwards. Now, obviously, if you've been injured to the point where you're literally bedridden in hospital or something, just wait, just chill out, just look after yourself. Give yourself time until you're actually mobile again. That should be the first priority. The first priority, while I'm thinking about it, should be how you feel. You should be able to feel, can I do something right now? If the answer is yes, then go and do it. If you try and do something and it hurts, ease off that. It's okay for things to be uncomfortable if you're injured, if you're sort of working through the injury and getting back to full health. But if something properly hurts, don't do that. Okay, if you are in rehab, yes, you should be exercising. You should be doing the things you need to do to get strong again, to get your movement back again, to get healthy again. I've had to do that a lot. For example, when I was, how old was I? 9 the first time, I was playing with some friends in the garden and I jumped onto a shed, caught my leg on the shed, ripped a bit of my knee open and basically had to have a surgery to flush my knee out, shoot a load of water through it, and that just ruined the kind of ligaments, the strength of the muscles, the stability of the joint and all of that. And so I couldn't bend my knee. Like, say this is my knee, if you're watching the video, I couldn't bend it at all. I had to learn how to do that. I had to put work in, I had to exercise to make that happen. So I had to basically relearn how to walk. And so yeah, in that case, if you're in some kind of rehab, you need to be doing those exercises. If you've, say, broken your arm, should you be doing exercise? Yeah, you can still use your legs. So do some lunges, do some squats. Again, if it's going to benefit your goals, just do it. If it's likely to make you more injured though, don't do that. You know, if you ride a BMX and you fall off and you've broken your arm, don't try and ride a BMX again, at least until you've fixed your arm. Yeah? Okay. Moving on. If you've injured yourself in any kind of way, and it's something that's kind of niggling or it's not going away, please go and see a physio. That's going to be your best plan of action, because if you've had a proper injury and you've been in the hospital and they've put you into physio, those physios are going to help you know what to do to fix yourself. But if you haven't had that, you don't know what to do. And so you end up sort of working around that issue and develop kind of weird movements that then pass on and on and on and end up causing other problems further down the line. And I know a physio can be expensive or can seem expensive, but what you got to remember is, like with all of these other things that can seem expensive with prioritizing your health, think of the future of where it could go. If that becomes an issue further and further and further down the line, it's going to become a bigger issue, and you'll probably end up having to put more money out or more time or effort or energy out in the future to fix this thing, which could be fixed really easily by a few small tweaks right now. So go and see a physio, see what they say, see if there's some simple little things you can do to help yourself get better from the injury that you've got. And if there is, do them. I'm a victim of not doing those things, just like a lot of people are, and it's silly. You think you can kind of rely on the physio because what they do in the session is what's going to fix you, but it's not. What they do in the session can usually just kind of relieve a bit of the pain you've got, but the stuff they show you, or they should be showing you in the session, is what you need to do in between sessions to get better. So go see a physio, book one in, look them up on Google, ask a friend for one they'd recommend, and get yourself sorted out. Get the injury fixed, and then you don't need to be asking if you should be working out when you're injured anymore, because you're not. If there is a recurring issue, which is not quite the last thing I was talking about, if there's something that comes back every so often for seemingly unknown reasons, should you work out when the injury comes back? I'll give you an example of what I mean. I mentioned my knee before, how I had to have that surgery. Well, a few years after that, 5 years actually, when I was 14, I dislocated my left knee. So again, I was in hospital for a little bit. I had to wear a splint to keep it straight, and when I wasn't wearing that and I wasn't on the crutches, I was sitting at home trying to bend my knee, doing those exercises to strengthen it back up and, you know, try and keep my kneecap in place again, because it was moving all over the show like this, which isn't good. It's not supposed to do that. And what I had to do once I'd done that is basically keep my knee strong. So obviously I'm working out regularly, leg days, a couple of times a week, to try and make sure my knee stays strong. But sometimes it just changes. I might do too much on it, which means it's a bit weaker than usual because it's trying to recover from what I did. Or sometimes I don't even know what happens. It just gets weak again. And so, you know, that can be really annoying because I can be working on maybe strength training, trying to build up my squat numbers or whatever it might be, or trying to up my deadlift, how much I can lift. And all of a sudden, my left knee is just like, nope, not doing that anymore for a while, because I literally can't do it. And it feels really weak. It feels like it's going to dislocate again, which it actually does sometimes. And in that case, I just have to deal with it. I just have to get on with it, strip everything right back to basics. And I go back and do the exercises that I did when I was in rehab for dislocating it in the first place. It's just simple things like split lunges, step ups onto a bench, like high resistance on a bike for about 10 minutes, just to keep pushing through the muscles, even though the joint is weak. And at the same time though, I can still do everything else. I can still do upper body. I can still do push exercises, pull exercises. I can still train my core. I just don't do any heavy or impact sort of exercises on that knee because I don't want to make things worse. Make sense? Hopefully it should. An injury, the kind of theme I'm getting at with this, an injury shouldn't stop you. It should just kind of divert your course of action from what it initially was. So you might have been like, all right, cool, got my workout plan. I'm going to do this week. Week 2, I'm on this. Week 3, I'm going to do that. Week 4, I'm going to be lifting this much. Week 5, blah, 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 blah. And then in week 2, something happens and gutted. That plan isn't going to work anymore. But most of it maybe still can. Like I say, if you've got a workout plan where you've got like a leg day, a push day, and a pull day, you can still do the push day and the pull day. you might just have to change what you were doing on the leg day. You can just find alternative exercises. You know, if you're in a gym, just tell the trainers in the gym what's happened. Tell them, right, I was planning to do this exercise, but I fucked my leg up, so I can't stand up to do these standing shoulder presses anymore. What can I do? And they'll say, just sit down. And you go, all right. Or maybe, you know, you've broken your arm. Let's use that example again. And it's leg day, and normally you'd be doing squats with the bar on your back, but obviously you're not holding that anymore because your arm doesn't work. So you just do normal squats. You just keep things up, keep things ticking over without the weight until you can hold it again. Because if you do that rather than do nothing until your arm gets better, you'll be in a much better position to keep going on the track that you were on once you're recovered from the injury you've got. Make sense? Cool. That's pretty much all there is to say in the question of should you work out when you're injured. If you can, yes. If you can't, no. But what you might need to do is be more inventive than you usually are to change that no to a yes. Like in those examples I just gave you. I can't really think of much more to say. Get inventive. See a physio. If you've hurt your upper body, do lower body. If you've hurt your lower body, do upper body. That's about it. So we'll wrap up here. Just a nice quick one for the podcast this week. Before we wrap up, again, do me a favor, click the like button down there. Massively helps me out. As well as that, if you want to get helpful tips throughout the week on how you can improve your nutrition, your exercise, your movements, what's going on up here, up in your head, well, get on to joining my newsletter where I send things out throughout the week, 2, 3, maybe 4 times a week on different topics, all designed to help you learn how you can do that again. All designed to help you learn how to look, feel, and live better. And if you want to become part of an awesome group full of supportive people all working to look, feel, and live better just like you, then make sure you join my free Facebook group. And the link for both of those things, the newsletter and the group, are in the description for this episode or the show notes if you're listening as a podcast. Now, just before we do fully wrap up and I say all those things about liking and sharing and subscribing, one thing I do want to ask you for is these little episodes where it's just me and you having a chat. I want to start doing some of them as Q&A episodes, question and answer episodes, basically where you send me questions on whatever it is you're wondering about, whatever you're stuck with, and then I answer them on the podcast. Now, obviously, I'll actually answer you directly, but the point of it is, if you've got that question, somebody else definitely does as well. So if you ask it, and I obviously help you out directly, but then I also answer the question on the podcast, the other person who has the question but maybe was a bit too scared to ask also gets the benefit of knowing the answer. So if you've got any questions about your nutrition, your movements, your mindset, anything to do with looking, feeling, and living better, let me know. Just drop me an email at info@shaunherr.co.uk. The link for that email address will be in the description as well. And in a couple of episodes' time, we'll get on that Q&A version. So, all the usual stuff now to wrap us up. If you're watching this video on YouTube, do me a favor, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, because that always helps. Leave us a comment as well. Let me know what you think of the episode. If you're watching on Facebook as well, like the video, leave us a comment, share it with your friends if you think somebody will find it useful. And of course, if you're listening as a podcast, make sure you leave a review on iTunes or whatever platform you're listening on if you haven't already, because all those things massively help the channel, help me reach more people, and help more people learn how to look, feel, and live better. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.